Greetings, everyone. Tim Anderson here, aka Renfield. Welcome to the latest Project Dramond episode. You're getting me first thing in the morning this morning, everybody. I am still, I haven't even had my coffee yet. I do have a cup of coffee in front of me. I've got full on like bedhead and yeah, beards bunched up. But yeah, it's all good though. That's the way we like to roll. So, welcome to today's post, which is all about the latest book outline update over on Patreon, which you can check out in the link below. Today we're outlining chapters 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13. So the next few chapters in the book. Been moving quite along in terms of the story progressing using a different, like three different sources for story beats, like just looking at how some of these other places have done it, books that I really like, shows that I really like, and modifying that for our own. It's a great way for those of you who want to figure out how to do a quick outline is take one of your favorite movies or take one of your favorite shows and look at the story beats and say, okay, how do things happen? Like, what are the major moments? You could look at, say, the first Star Wars film. It starts off, first story beat, there's a ship, it's escaping, something's happening. Why is the ship on the run? Um, the next, and that kind of goes through up to the point, you learn why the ship is escaping. You learn that there's the plans for the Death Star. You learn that Darth Vader's there to get the plans, and then the droids escape, and the princess is captured. Boom. Next story beat, the droids are on Tatooine, and going through that story beat, and then you get to the next story beat, which is getting introduced to Luke, and the droids are being sold, and so on and so forth. So you can look at story beats, and you can break down any movie, any series, any novel that you want into these story beats. And for a book, it might be one or two chapters, it might be one chapter, it might be, and more commonly is several chapters, depending on how the writer is working. I'm just thinking about this for a second. George R. R. Martin is one of those exceptions to the rules because his chapters tend to be pretty focused. Like one chapter is all about this character in this place. And then the next time you meet up with that character, he might not be in the same place and he might not be doing that same thing. So the story beats are quite a bit different because those are like chapter story beats. In this case, when Joey and I started breaking down the story arc for the book, um, I think there's 8. I'm going to go look at the notes real quick and I'll tell you. Novel, Google Docs. I'm going to look here real quick. And this is not the right document. I'm looking at the wrong document here. The one I want to look at is the Project Dramond World History Bases Lore and More. Let's see. Story Arc 4, Story Arc 5, Story Arc 6. So it looks like we have 6 major story arcs in the book. So 6 major beats. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean we're breaking them into an even amount of chapters. We might have 2 or 3 chapters for this, 2 or 3 chapters for that. But basically look at story arc 1 is I'm just reading my notes here. Story arc 1 is, the story picks up with the kid living in this area. He's there doing some sketchy stuff, meets the other group who are there also doing some sketchy stuff, gets involved with them, and escapes with them. That's story beat 1. Story beat 2 is learning that he has some innate abilities, and the wizard of the group deciding that he's going to train this kid. Now, in the middle of all of that, we've got this trio of bad guys who have quantum technology and who are specifically trained to hunt down wizards and magic users. And the wizard realizes they're going to need to find a relic to help them combat these guys, which leads to the story arc 3, which is where they have to go get the relic and go on the offensive against the Inquisitors and kill them, or kill one of them anyway. So that's what this particular. I'm checking my chapters here. This next chapter is chapters 9, 10, 11, and 12 and 13 lead up to the elimination of that first Inquisitor. So we've kind of, by this point, by the time we get to chapter 13, we've wrapped up the third story arc, or the third beat, and now we're getting into story arc 4, 5, and 6, which, if you think about this in the terms of the scope of the book, if I have 50 chapters in the book and I've covered three beats in the first 13 chapters, right? You're going to look at that and go, well, how does this only have six major themes in the book? Because you've only done, like a third of the chapters. You still have to do all these other chapters. How are you going to, it sounds to me like your story arcs are going to be much bigger. Your story beats are going to be much bigger, and they are. And there is a reason for that, because the pacing that you want, the early chapters of the book, you want bam, 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 bam. You want action happening quick. You want the pace to be quick. You want to get people pulled in. You want to get them invested in the characters. And then at a certain point, you're okay to slow down. It doesn't have to be nonstop Marvel action movie. You could slow down and you can have story and you can have compilation and you can take a moment to breathe, bring the characters back down, and actually start to expose the world and to immerse yourself in that world. And then by the end time you get to the end, of course, you want to pick things up back at the end again to have that bam ending, because this is not the ending of the series. This is the ending that leads you to book two, so you have to leave everybody on that cliffhanger that gets them anticipating and wanting to read the second book. So there is some, you know, there's some thought that goes into this. And there may be the evolution of a seventh story beat or a seventh story arc in this, but we won't know yet. Anyway, if you want to dive into the actual chapter outline for chapters 9 through 13, definitely check out the link below, which goes over to the Patreon page. Don't forget to join our Discord, where we have lots of fun conversations. Join our TikTok, where you can follow along with the daily updates and art and everything else. My brother's link is there below as well. Stuff that he's working on for the adventure game. And of course, if you haven't already done so, check out the playlist here on YouTube for all the Project Dramond fun. And stick around, because we will have another update coming to you for the adventure game this upcoming Sunday. And I believe we're doing a big overview post for the public at some point in Patreon in the next week or so. So stick around for all of that. If you haven't, don't forget, subscribe to this channel, hit the bell icon to get updates for more content in the future, and I will see everybody in the next episode.